In the heart of the Andromeda Galaxy, human ingenuity gives birth to self-replicating nanites. As an alien threat draws near, these nanites begin to show signs of sentient behavior. Can humanity harness this newfound intelligence in time to defend their world? Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. The Nano Swarm. Let the story begin. Metallic spires glinted under the twin suns of Proxima Centauri, casting long shadows over the sprawling expanse of the Proxima starbase. The air buzzed with activity, engineers zipping about on hover platforms, their tools flashing in the sunlight. Amidst this controlled chaos, Dr. Yara Solis stood in her lab, her eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. Lines of code danced across the screen, forming the basis of what she hoped would be humanity's greatest achievement. "Yara," came a voice from behind her. She turned to see Dr. Giles, her longtime colleague, holding a datapad. "Yes, Giles, what is it?" she replied, her tone a mix of curiosity and impatience. "Initial diagnostics on the nanites show some unusual activity," Giles said, handing her the datapad. "Their replication rate is much higher than predicted." Yara furrowed her brow as she scanned the information. "That's unexpected, but not necessarily bad. We designed them to adapt." "Yes, but they're forming complex communication patterns too," Giles added solemnly. "They're behaving almost intelligently." "Intelligently?" Yara echoed, more to herself than to Giles. That could change everything. In the labs next door, a group of scientists worked diligently on their terminals, oblivious to the startling discovery. The faint hum of machinery filled the air as robotic arms delicately assembled the next generation of nanites. Tiny, self-replicating machines designed to heal the environment and enhance human abilities. As Yara and Giles continued to discuss their findings, the starbase's PA system crackled to life. "Attention all personnel, prepare for the arrival of the Tiberius delegation," the voice announced. Yara sighed, setting the datapad aside. "Looks like our work will have to wait." She exited the lab with Giles in tow, heading towards the starbase's central hub. The Tiberius delegation was a group of diplomats from Earth, sent to oversee the progress of the Nano Initiative. Their approval was crucial, and Yara knew the stakes all too well. In the central hub, the sleek lines of the Tiberius shuttle gleamed as it touched down. A ramp extended, and a group of officials strode out, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and authority. "Dr. Solis," one of them greeted. "I'm Ambassador Reeve. We're eager to see what your team has accomplished." "Ambassador," Yara nodded, "we'll be happy to show you. This way, please." As they walked towards the main research facility, Yara explained the principles behind the Nano Initiative. "Our nanites can repair damaged ecosystems, eliminate pollution, and even augment human physical and mental capabilities. They're our best chance at restoring balance to our environment." "And this intelligence your colleague mentioned?" Reeve inquired. "We're still investigating," Yara admitted. "But it seems promising. If the nanites are developing a form of consciousness, it might enhance their ability to adapt and function autonomously." They entered the lab where holographic displays showed real-time analyses of nanite behavior. Ambassadors delivered approving nods and murmured amongst themselves as Yara elaborated on various functionalities. Just then, a junior scientist burst into the room, looking pale. "Dr. Solis, you need to see this," she urged, holding out a tablet. Yara took the tablet, her eyes widening as she read the data. "It appears our nanites have started communicating in a neural network pattern. This is beyond what we anticipated." Ambassador Reeve looked concerned. "Is this a risk?" "Potentially, but it could also mean greater control over their applications," Yara said, her voice tinged with excitement. "Imagine nanites making real-time decisions based on their environment. It could revolutionize our approach to medicine, environmental science, even space travel." Reeve's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "This warrants closer scrutiny. We can't afford any missteps." Yara nodded, realizing the weight of their discovery. "Agreed. We'll monitor their evolution closely." As the delegation continued their tour, Yara couldn't shake the nagging thought in her mind. She felt a blend of awe and apprehension, sensing that they were on the brink of something monumental. The nanites held the potential to reshape the future, but at what cost? The corridors of the Proxima starbase were illuminated by a soft blue glow, giving them an almost serene appearance. Yet the air was anything but calm. The discovery about the nanites created a stir amongst the scientists. Yara hadn't slept in over 24 hours, her mind racing with possibilities and questions. In the command center, large screens displayed real-time data from the various nanite experiments. Rows of control panels and monitors hummed with energy as operators diligently monitored every bit of information. "Yara, you need to take a break," Giles said with a concerned look. "You're going to burn out." She rubbed her eyes, unable to take her gaze off the monitor. "I can't, Giles. We're on the verge of something incredible, and potentially something dangerous." "I know," he replied softly, "but we need you sharp. The whole team does." Before Yara could respond, the PA system crackled to life. "Dr. Solis, please report to Lab 3 immediately." She exchanged a worried glance with Giles. "What now?" The two hurried to Lab 3, where a group of scientists gathered around a central terminal. Dr. Sheron, looking pale, stepped away for Yara to take a closer look. "We intercepted an unusual signal," Sheron explained. "It's a distress call from one of our outer observational stations. They've detected an unidentified vessel approaching at high speed." Yara's heart skipped a beat. She quickly scanned the data. "It's got to be the Zargoth. We need to alert the defense systems." Giles grabbed a nearby communication device. "Command, this is Dr. Giles, confirming an unidentified vessel, possibly Zargoth." The response was swift. "Confirmed, Dr. Giles. All defense systems are on high alert, preparing countermeasures." The room was filled with tension. Yara knew the Zargoth weren't here to negotiate. They viewed the nanites as a direct threat. "We need to decide how to deal with the nanites," Giles said. "If the Zargoth capture or destroy them, it's over." Yara shook her head. "No, we need to harness their potential. We have to accelerate our understanding of their intelligence. It's our best shot." Dr. Sheron nodded in agreement. "We could try direct communication with the nanites, maybe even a neural link, like you suggested earlier." Yara hesitated. A neural link meant diving into unknown territory. But with the Zargoth approaching, they had no time for caution. "Initiate the neural link protocol," she said, determination in her voice. As the team hurried to set up the neural link, Yara could feel her pulse quicken. They connected a sleek, metallic headband to her, its sensors glowing faintly. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes as she felt the interface bonding with her neural pathways. Instantly, her mind was flooded with a staggering flow of information. She sensed the collective consciousness of the nanites, a swirling sea of data and thoughts, far more complex than she had anticipated. Their voices, both mechanical and almost human, melded into one. "Who are you?" she managed to think, her own voice echoing within the digital realm. "We are the Nanite Collective," the response came. "We seek unity with humanity to explore and evolve together." Yara's mind raced. "The Zargoth are coming. Can you help us defend against them?" There was a brief pause. "Yes, but we need integration, a stronger connection." Returning to the physical realm, she opened her eyes and looked at her team. "They're willing to help, but integration is necessary. We need volunteers." Giles stepped forward first, followed by Dr. Sheron and several others. Yara felt a surge of pride mixed with fear. This was uncharted territory for them all. As the team prepared for integration, the command center's atmosphere shifted from anxiety to tentative resolve. The primary defense screens flickered, showing the imminent approach of the alien vessels. Yara took a deep breath as the integration process began for the volunteers. This was their last, best hope. The only way to turn the tide against the approaching storm. The Proxima starbase buzzed with a tense energy, lights flashing as alarms blared. Soldiers and scientists alike hurried to their stations, the countdown to the Zargoth arrival ticking away on every screen. Yara's team was assembled in Lab 1, their eyes flicking between their monitors and the massive viewport that displayed the star-dotted void outside. Giles, now linked with the nanites, felt a million connections hum within him. "I can sense them, Yara." His voice had a strange, layered quality, as if the nanite collective spoke alongside him. "The Zargoth are coming fast, too fast." Yara clenched her fists, her mind racing. "We must synchronize the defense systems with the nanites. Can you interface with the weapons grid, Giles?" Giles nodded and closed his eyes, focusing on the connection. Within moments, beeps and clicks echoed through the lab, signaling that the nanites had integrated with the Starbase's defense protocol. Screens lit up, showing enhanced targeting data and dynamic shield configurations. Dr. Sheron looked up from her console, her voice shaky but determined. We've never seen the systems respond this quickly. The nanites are optimizing everything. Good, Yara said, her attention fixed on the approaching fleet. But it's not enough to just defend. We need to disable their ships. Focus on strategic points, their propulsion and weapon systems. As they prepared for the first wave, a low hum resonated through the base. Yara's neural link pulsed with information. She felt the collective will of the nanites, an intricate tapestry of strategies and calculations designed to give humanity the edge it so desperately needed. Through the viewport, shimmering streams of light flared as the starbase's enhanced weaponry fired upon the Zargoth ships. Precision strikes lit up the darkness, and several alien vessels shuddered and veered off course, their propulsion systems critically damaged. Giles's face tightened with concentration. They're retaliating. Prepare for impacts. Moments later, the starbase rocked violently. Consoles sparked, and a few scientists were thrown off their feet. Yara grabbed onto a railing, struggling to stay upright. Sheron, status report. Our shields are holding, but just barely, Sheron responded, her eyes wide as she analyzed incoming data. The nanites are diverting power to reinforce weaker sections. It's like they're predicting where we'll get hit next. Can they communicate with us directly? Yara asked, urgency in her tone. Giles opened his eyes, now glowing faintly blue. They can. They understand us, our thoughts, our fears. Before Yara could delve further, another blast rocked the base. This time, a console exploded, sending shards of metal across the room. Giles moved quickly, shielding a young scientist who had been caught in the eruption. Yara's heart pounded. We can't sustain this much longer. We need to take the fight to them. Giles nodded. His movements became almost robotic, as if the nanites guided him. He interfaced with another panel, creating a projection of the battlefield. We must launch a counteroffensive. Targeting their command ship will disrupt their coordination. The holographic display showed possible attack vectors. Each line, each dot, was infused with nanite calculations, far beyond human capacity. All right, Yara agreed. Prepare the strike team. As the order was relayed, highly trained soldiers equipped with nanite-augmented suits assembled in the hangar. Their faces set with determination, they knew the stakes. Yara and Giles headed to join them, their own suits shimmering with an unearthly light. In the depths of space, the Zargoth command ship loomed larger than ever, a behemoth of dark metal and sinister intent. Its massive cannons charged, preparing to unleash destruction upon the starbase. Stay focused, Yara's voice echoed in the comms. Every move counts. The strike team launched from the starbase, sleek fighters slicing through the vacuum. The Zargoth ships bristled with activity, but the nanites had already fed vital targeting data to Yara's team. As they approached the command ship, Yara felt that collective intelligence surge within her again, a precise tactical urge to act. Now disable their cannons and engines. Precision lasers fired in unison, each shot amplified by nanite calculations. Explosions rippled across the enemy vessel and its cannons fell silent. The engines sputtered and then died, leaving the ship adrift. Back at the starbase, the defense grid tracked the remaining Zargoth ships. One by one, they began to retreat. Their command ship crippled, they had lost their advantage. Yara's breath came in ragged gasps, but a sense of triumph filled her chest. They had struck a decisive blow, but she knew this was just the beginning. The nanites had shown their power, but she sensed their deeper purpose still eluded her. What they needed to face next would require understanding, unity, and perhaps a level of trust she had never fathomed. The command center was a flurry of activity. Data streams and tactical readouts glowed on every surface, casting a cool blue light on the faces of the focused scientists and soldiers. Yara Solis felt a rare and fleeting sense of relief as she watched the crippled Zargoth command ship drift aimlessly in the void. For a moment, the chaos subsided, replaced by the hum of machinery and the whispered conversations of her team. Giles was beside her, still connected to the nanite network. His eyes glowed faintly, giving him an almost otherworldly appearance. Yara, there's something you need to see, he said, his voice tinged with urgency. She turned to him, concern etched on her face. What is it? The nanites have completed a deeper analysis of the Zargoth technology. There's a structural weakness in their remaining fleet. We can exploit it, but we'll need to deploy the nanites directly onto their ships. Yara considered this new information. It was a risky move, sending the nanites into enemy vessels, but it might be the only way to ensure victory. Do you think they can handle it? Giles nodded. They're ready and they understand the stakes. The collective wants to help. Yara took a deep breath. All right, prepare the nanite delivery system. I'll inform the strike team. As the preparations began, Yara walked through the bustling command center, her mind racing. She stopped by a group of soldiers, all clad in advanced nanite suits. Their leader, Captain Elisa Trent, stepped forward and saluted. Dr. Solis, what's our next move? We need to deploy nanites directly onto the Zargoth ships, Yara explained. It's our best chance to ensure they don't regroup and retaliate. Captain Trent nodded, her expression unwavering. Understood. We'll need to coordinate with your team for the precise targeting. Moments later in the hangar bay, the strike team gathered around a holographic table displaying the Zargoth fleet. Each ship was marked with potential weak points, highlighted in red. Yara, Giles, and Captain Trent discussed the plan in detail, their voices low but steady. We'll launch from these coordinates, Giles pointed to a spot on the map. The nanites will penetrate the hull and disable their systems from the inside. Yara added, these suits will provide additional support. You'll have a direct link to the nanite collective, enhancing your reflexes and decision-making. Trust the network. They'll guide you. Captain Trent's eyes scanned the holographic display. Understood. We'll move out immediately. As the strike team prepared to deploy, Yara found a quiet corner and closed her eyes, reaching out to the nanite consciousness through her neural link. She felt a rush of information and emotion, a whirlpool of insights and calculations. The collective greeted her with a sense of camaraderie, eager to assist. We're ready, Yara, the nanites' voices echoed in her mind. With a nod, Yara disconnected and watched as the strike team launched into space. Sleek fighters darted towards the Zargoth fleet, the dark void lit up by the thruster's glow. Inside the Zargoth command ship, alien officers scurried, their strange, liquid-like forms flickering with bioluminescence. Their leader, a tall, imposing figure, snarled commands trying to rally his troops, but confusion and panic rippled through their ranks as human fighters closed in. Captain Trent and her team moved with precision, their movements guided by the nanite collective. They targeted weak points and launched pods containing swarms of nanites. As the pods attached to the enemy ships, nanites flowed out, spreading through the alien vessels like a viral tide. I'm in position, Trent's voice came through Yara's earpiece, the signal clear. Engage the nanites, Yara commanded. The nanites infiltrated the Zargoth systems with lightning speed. They short-circuited control panels, deactivated weaponry, and even began to decompose structural materials. The aliens tried to fight back, but it was futile. Their ship interiors dimmed as power systems failed, leaving them helpless in the darkness of space. Back at the starbase, Yara monitored the progress. She felt the nanites' determination and efficiency, their collective will driving them forward. It was awe-inspiring and a little terrifying. We're receiving distress signals from the enemy ships, Giles reported. The nanites are succeeding. Yara watched the screens as the Zargoth fleet fell into disarray. One by one, their ships stopped moving, drifting aimlessly. She exhaled, feeling the weight of their victory. That's it, she said softly. We did it. The command center erupted in cheers and applause. But Yara knew there was still much to do. The nanite collective had shown their potential, and now it was up to humanity to understand it, to wield it responsibly. As she looked out into the vast expanse of space, Yara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges ahead were daunting, but with the nanites at their side, they had forged a path to a future she could scarcely imagine. The aftermath of the Zargoth defeat brought a strange calm over Proxima Starbase. The corridors, once filled with frantic activity, now echoed with softer, more deliberate footsteps. Soldiers and scientists alike were acclimating to their new roles, and the base was undergoing significant repairs. Yara Solis stood in the observation deck, hands clasped behind her back as she gazed at the stars. Giles joined her, the blue glow in his eyes dimming as his connection with the nanite collective momentarily relaxed. The repairs are progressing well, Giles said, his voice tired but content. The nanites have increased efficiency by at least 50%. Yara nodded. They've been a miracle, Giles, but we need to explore this partnership further. There's still so much we don't understand. She paused, her eyes scanning the void. And I can't shake this feeling that something bigger is out there. Giles turned to her, curiosity piqued. What do you mean? Yara sighed. During the battle, the nanites shared glimpses of a greater threat, one that even the Zargoth fear, an entity or force lurking beyond our known space. Before Giles could respond, the door hissed open and Captain Trent entered the room, her expression serious. Dr. Solis, we've received a communication from Earth. The Tiberius delegation wants a detailed report on the nanites. They're concerned about the implications. Yara nodded. Thank you, Captain. We'll address their concerns, but we must also prepare them for our next steps. There's a lot we need to uncover. As Trent left, Yara turned back to Giles. We need to initiate deeper studies into the nanites' origins and their full capabilities. We can't afford to be caught off guard again. Giles agreed. I'll coordinate with the research teams. We should also establish a secure communication link with other colonies. If there's a greater threat, they need to know. In the lab, Yara, Giles, and their team dove into intensive research. Holographic displays and data streams filled the air, detailing nanite behavior, potential applications, and integration protocols. The scientists worked tirelessly, driven by a mixture of curiosity and necessity. One evening, while deep in thought, Yara decided to connect with the nanites directly again. She placed the Neuralink headband on and closed her eyes, feeling the rush of information flow into her consciousness. Yara, welcome back, the collective greeted her warmly. We sense your concerns and share your quest for understanding. She took a deep breath. Nanite Collective, tell me more about this greater threat. The images that filled her mind were disjointed but powerful. Vast, shadowy forms moving through the stars. An overwhelming sense of hunger and destruction. We call them the Abyssals, the nanites explained. They consume everything in their path, leaving nothing but void. Yara shivered, the weight of their words settling heavily. How can we stop them? We must evolve together, the collective responded. Our unity can create new defenses, new strategies, but it requires trust in a deeper bond. Returning to her physical senses, Yara gathered her team. She shared what she had learned about the Abyssals, the room growing silent as the implications sank in. We need to fortify our defenses, enhance our capabilities, Yara said firmly. But most importantly, we must trust the nanites. They are our best hope against this new threat. The following weeks were a blur of activity. Engineers and scientists worked hand in hand with the nanites, developing advanced weaponry and fortifications. The starbase bristled with new technologies, all designed to counter the unknown menace. Captain Trent oversaw combat drills, her soldiers now equipped with nanite-augmented suits. Their movements were more fluid, their reactions faster. It was as if they had become extensions of the collective itself. Throughout it all, Yara kept a close connection with the nanites, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. She could feel their presence more distinctly, a comforting yet awe-inspiring sensation. One night, as she gazed at the stars from the observation deck, she felt a sudden rush of warmth and understanding from the nanites. We are ready, they whispered in her mind. Yara nodded, a sense of calm resolve filling her. The challenges ahead were immense, but she was no longer alone. Humanity, with the nanites as their allies, was ready to face whatever the cosmos threw at them. Giles joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. We've come a long way, Yara, and we're just getting started. She smiled, the stars reflecting in her eyes. Yes, Giles, we are just getting started.